healthy aging, life after 70, food as medicine, natural health that actually works. Not from a doctor trying to sell you something. Not from an influencer with a ring light. From people who lived past 100 and earned every single word. This is The Art of Aging.
Hi there, welcome to the Art of Aging podcast. Let's jump in.
What if the glass of wine you pour every evening, the one you've earned, the one that feels like a ritual, a reward, a small kindness at the end of a long day, what if that glass is quietly undoing the very rest you think it's giving you? Most people over 60 don't question it, but the body after 70 processes alcohol completely differently than it did at 40, and almost nobody is telling you what that actually means.
There was a man I know, let's call him Gerald, who was 68 years old and had 2 glasses of wine every evening. Not more, just 2. He was proud of his restraint, actually. He'd watched friends drink too much and recognized he wasn't like that. 2 glasses, dinner, a quiet hour with a book. He wasn't what anyone would call a drinker. He was just someone who had a ritual. Gerald came to me 3 years after his wife passed. Sleep, he said, had become his enemy. He'd fall asleep easily enough. The wine helped with that. But he'd wake at 2 a.m., heart beating oddly, mind racing, and lie there in the dark for hours. His skin had a grayish tinge his doctor kept monitoring. His energy was flat. He'd stopped wanting to go out. He'd been told his liver enzymes were slightly elevated. His doctor called it something to watch. Gerald called it probably nothing. Then, on a Tuesday in October, for no reason he could fully explain, he poured the wine down the sink. Not forever, he told himself. Just 30 days. Just to see.
Here is what science now knows about the liver after 60, and it is humbling in its precision. The liver is one of the most extraordinary organs in the human body. It is the only organ capable of complete regeneration. Lose 60% of it, and under the right conditions, it will regrow. Scientists have studied this for decades, but what they are now understanding is that this regenerative power does not disappear with age. It slows, it dims, and it requires something very specific to activate: a period of rest. When you drink alcohol, your liver prioritizes metabolizing it above everything else. The entire detoxification system, the fat burning, the hormone regulation, the protein synthesis, the bile production, all of it gets pushed aside. The liver is working, but it is working on the wrong job. After 60, alcohol is metabolized more slowly. The enzyme systems that process it, particularly alcohol dehydrogenase, decline with age. So the same 2 glasses that your body handled with ease at 40 now linger. The liver works longer, harder, and rests less.
Here's what happens when you stop for 30 days. In the first week, liver inflammation, which many older adults carry without knowing it, begins to decrease. Liver fat starts to mobilize. By week 2, sleep architecture begins to reorganize. REM sleep, which alcohol suppresses, returns. By week 3, liver enzymes in the blood begin to normalize. Skin hydration improves. Cognitive processing sharpens. By day 30, studies show measurable reduction in liver stiffness, improved lipid profiles, and this is the one that surprises people most, a significant improvement in insulin sensitivity. 30 days. No surgery, no prescription, just absence. If this episode has made you curious, not guilty, just curious, here is exactly what 30 alcohol-free days can look like in practice. First, remove the ritual, not just the substance. If you pour wine at 6 p.m. every evening, the craving is as much about that moment, the light, the quiet, the transition from day to evening, as it is about the alcohol. Replace the glass, not the moment. Sparkling water with a slice of orange and a few fresh herbs in a real glass at the same time in the same chair. Honor the ritual. Change the chemistry.
Second, tell someone. Not for accountability in the punishing sense, but because naming something gives it weight. Say to one person, I'm doing 30 days without alcohol. That sentence alone tends to reveal something. Third, track your sleep. Not with an app necessarily, though that can be useful, but with your own noticing. Most people report that the first 3 to 5 nights are harder. Sleep may feel shallow or interrupted as the sedative effect lifts. This passes. By night 10, for most people, something shifts. They sleep deeper than they have in years. Fourth, give your liver the support it is asking for. Water. Consistent. Warm lemon water in the morning activates bile production and begins the detox cascade gently. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, contain compounds that actively support liver enzyme function. Beets, turmeric, dandelion root tea, if you can find it. And fifth, hold the 30 days sacred. Not as punishment, as curiosity. As the experiment Gerald ran on a Tuesday in October with no particular plan. Gerald called me on day 32. He didn't pour the wine again after the 30 days, he said. Not because he decided never to drink again, but because something had happened that surprised him. He said, I remembered who I was before the ritual. He said that the evenings without the wine had become uncomfortable at first, and then quiet, and then something else. He started reading differently. He started calling his daughter more. He woke at 6 a.m. one morning, completely alert before his alarm, and stood at his kitchen window watching a bird on the fence for 15 minutes and said it was the most present he had felt in 3 years. Here is the sole lesson I want to leave with you. The liver is the organ of processing in Eastern medicine. Not just physical toxins, but emotional ones. Grief, anger, the accumulated weight of things we haven't let ourselves feel. There's a reason people say they drink to forget, because the liver, when burdened, is the body's way of saying, there is something here I haven't finished with yet. Gerald wasn't just giving his liver a rest. He was giving himself permission to feel the grief of losing his wife without something in his bloodstream softening the edges. It was harder, and then it was real, and then it was healing. The most powerful life advice about alcohol and aging isn't about the drink. It's about what we use the drink to avoid, and whether, at this age, with everything we've survived, we might finally be ready to sit with it.
After 60, your body processes alcohol differently, more slowly,
more heavily, with less recovery time. The liver, your most regenerative organ, needs rest to do its deepest work. 30 alcohol-free days is not a moral statement. It is a biological experiment. In that month, liver inflammation decreases, sleep architecture repairs, cognitive clarity returns, and something quieter happens too. You begin to meet yourself again without the buffer. You don't have to be a heavy drinker for this to matter. You just have to be curious enough to try. Nothing shared here is medical advice. If you drink regularly and experience anxiety, tremors, or discomfort when you stop, please consult your physician before beginning any period of alcohol abstinence. Withdrawal can be medically significant. This is a personal perspective and storytelling episode only. Your health decisions are yours, and your doctor is your partner in making them.
If something in this episode made you stop and think, share it with one person. Not to judge them, just because they might need to hear it today. Follow at Art of Aging Podcast. And if this story moved you, leave us a review. You have no idea whose life it might reach.